Hi friends, welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. If you're new here, my name is Brenda. I am so happy you stopped by today. If you are returning, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Today, just have one of my regular videos for you. So with all that being said, let's get to crafting. Okay, here's DIY number 1. So for this DIY, I'm going to use this ribbon from Dollar Tree, this place mat from Dollar Tree, and this frame from Dollar Tree. In fact, everything that I use today is from Dollar Tree except for the paints. So I'm going to start off by taking out the back of this frame, and I'm just using the glass to kind of put in the middle of the placemat and the frame just to make sure it looks even. And then I'm going to use a Sharpie to trace around the glass, and then I'm just going to cut it all out, and then I'm going to place it inside my frame with the glass as well. And then of course just put the backing on. This is a super simple, easy DIY for you today. And once I had that done, I decided to take some of that ribbon, and I'm just lining it up to the corner and then cutting the end to be at the same angle as that frame corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to hot glue it in place, and then I'm going to go around that whole frame and add more hot glue, just like you see me doing right there. And I go all the way around the frame doing the same thing with that buffalo check ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. And so after, well, let's see, I'll get done here in just a moment. Once I had that frame completely done, I took, I'm showing you myself finishing the frame. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this green burlap ribbon I got last year from Dollar Tree, and I'm just making my normal bows that I make. I'm going to use some of this black gingham ribbon as well, and I'm just going to make a double bow. And so I just make the awareness ribbon and then scrunch in the middle, and then I'm going to connect the two with some twine. And then I'm just going to, I had to cut off the ends there because they were, it was actually a twine piece from a hanger. And it had the little plastic ends on it. So anyways, I'm just tying my knot here with the twine, cutting it off, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends. Then I'm going to hot glue it to the top left corner with a flower that I got from, just recently got from Dollar Tree. I think it's a Saint Zinnia. I don't know how you say it, but it was really pretty, you guys. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it was a Dollar Tree flower because it just was really pretty. So I had just bought them, and I thought that they would match with the kind of the orangey color inside this picture, and that's why I did the teal ribbon there to match the truck. And yeah, that's all there was for this one. I am doing just some really easy Dollar Tree only DIYs for this video for you. I had some technical difficulties that kept me from being able to do what I originally planned, but I really love the way this came out and the rest of them, so you'll have to let me know what you think about this easy DIY. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find my links to my social media accounts as well as other accounts that I am affiliated with in the link tree in my description box below. Here's DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I'm using some of these Greenery bouquets that I got those last year as well from Dollar Tree. And then this I got from Walmart, that spray paint, and then a pool noodle or part of a pool noodle from Dollar Tree, this little bin from Dollar Tree, and then of course their garden fence from Dollar Tree. So I'm going to start off by cutting off the little whatever those things are on the end of the fence. They're to connect to the other fences. And then I cut off that stake, and then I'm just cutting right in the middle of the fence, and I'm just using my scissors. It is kind of hard. You see me kind of pressing down with my other hand there, but the biggest thing is you want to make sure you don't go to the side and cut it in half, but they can break easy. So if you try this and you're cutting them, just be really careful, because you can break where it's cutting. I don't know if that makes sense, but just be careful. Anyway, so then I'm taking some of this vinyl from Dollar Tree, and I just measured the width of how wide I want it to be, because it has saying, oh, by the way, I took both the fence and the bucket there and painted them, spray painted them. Sorry. Anyways, I did spray paint them, and then once they were dry, I took this vinyl, and I am just going to put it around to cover up the words. I didn't really want to have the words showing. And so, and it's French for flower garden, I think. Anyway, so once I got that vinyl around both sides, and I'm just taking some rope from Dollar Tree, and I'm just wrapping it around the top part, just kind of covering up the seam. And then I'm going to do the same on the bottom and just wrap around the bottom. And I'm just adding a little bit of super glue here and there just to hold that rope in place. Don't think it's really necessary to go all the way around with the super glue, because it was staying pretty nicely. Once I had them both covered, then I just took some of my ink by Waverly Chalk paint, and I am doing dry brushing all around the top and the bottom edges. And then just kind of wherever it was white, I just did a little dry brushing just to give it that older rustic look. And then I went around the vinyl and did the same thing, because the white was just too shiny. And then I realized it was kind of pulling up some of the words, so I kind of stopped doing that. But if you recreate this, be careful with that. Anyways, and then I took the garden fence, and I am just doing the same thing. I'm just going around and doing a heavy distressing. And there is pointing, there's some little round pieces, and I'm just using my crocodile to poke through those round pieces to make a hole. And then I'm just marking where I want to make the holes in my container there, and I'm using my crocodile to make a hole. And if you've never seen these things are awesome. I love mine because you can poke holes through wood, you can poke holes through metal, as long as it's not too thick. And so I'm just poking my holes here. I do believe I have it in my Amazon store. I'll make sure, but I do believe I have it in there. And then I'm going to use a zip tie, and I'm just going through the holes that I made on the fence and then through the container there. And I'm just going to adhere it with that zip tie. And then I just, once I get it took me a little bit to get it really tight. And then after that, I realized I didn't like the way it was sitting, the ends. So I took some little twine and I put some tape on it so I could thread it through. There's like a kind of a hole there in the corner. And I'm just going to thread it through that hole and then make another little hole with my crocodile on each side. And then I will string that twine through the hole of the container. And then I'm just going to tie it really tight and tie a knot so that way it kind of curves in a little bit and isn't sticking out kind of funny the way it was. And I do this on both sides. And then once I was done with that, I took some of this pool noodle, cut it in half, and then fit it down into that container. And then I'm just adding these bushes, and that's all there is for this little planter. I love the way this came out. Oh, I'm not done. I forgot. I took some of these. These are from a brain teaser game from Dollar Tree. So I took 4 of them, and you kind of have to play around with where you're putting them because they have holes on different sides. They're not all right across from each other. So I was just kind of making sure that the holes were facing inward and upward so you couldn't see them as well, and put them on his feet. And that's all there is for that. I love it. I already have it above my kitchen cabinets. It looks great. You have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Okay, it is time for the celebration of your recreations, and I received an email from Belinda with this cute little recreation that she made. It says Hello Spring. I love it. She did an amazing job. Thank you so much. And if you have a recreation that you would like to send me a picture of, my email address is in the description box. Just send me an email and I'd be happy to share it. Okay, here's DIY number 3. So for this DIY, I'm going to take this little metal wreath that they have out right now. This house that I got at Christmas time from Dollar Tree, I'm going to use my Waverly Chalk paint in the color white, and this vinyl. I do use also the color sage. But I'm going to start off by pulling off the hanger there. It's all stapled in, as well as the trim. And so I'm just removing all the staples. If you don't have one of these houses, you could make one your own. It might not have the chimney, but you could just either use like the wood arrows, or you could also just get a rectangle sign and, cut it they cut pretty easy with like a box knife. You could cut the angles, and then you could make the top parts with tumbling tower blocks. But anyways, I just got those top pieces off, and it was ripping off the front, and I don't know, my OCD got to me and I kept pulling it off most of the paper there. So then I did something wrong here. I should have had this house facing the other way, because I wanted to cover the back. And when I went to go put it on, I realized I cut it out the wrong way. It wasn't going to fit right. So I'm going to have to use the front with that vinyl. So I just went with my water and sprayed it all down, and was able to scrape up all that excess glue and paper that was on it. And then I just put my buffalo check paper right on top of the house. And then I painted these little top pieces here with my Waverly Chalk paint and the color ink. And I did actually take a small paintbrush and go all around the edge of that house too, so you didn't see the brown board. And then while that was drying, I took my white chalk paint and I'm painting in the word home. And then I'm going to take my, not sage, celery chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the leaves as well. And I love the way this wreath came out. One thing I think I show you, but I will after I get done painting and it's all dry. I did do 2 coats. Here I put on some Mod Podge as well, just to keep it, since it is metal, it will chip off easy. So I'm putting that Mod Podge to keep it from chipping. Then I took some of that buffalo check ribbon and I am putting it through the hole there, and I am just going to glue the ribbon together, and then I'm going to glue it to the top of that house. And then once that is done, I'm going to take those little roof pieces. Now they are kind of crooked. They didn't cut them very well, but I got them on the top as best as I could. I'm just using some hot glue. And then after that, I didn't like that you could see some of the edge of the here I'm making a bow out of twine, but you could see some of the edge of the vinyl, because to make the top part of that house fit in together, that's why it was crooked, because it wasn't covering the top edge that well. So I just went ahead with some twine and just hot glued it all the way around the house. That kind of just gave it a little bit of a border too. And that way it just kind of covered up that rough edge. And then after I have that all done, I think that's all I did. I do cover the back with some shipping paper, and I do make a little hanger for the back as well. I'm sorry I didn't show that to you. I don't know what happened, but here it is. I think this came out so cute. You'll have to let me know what you think of this as well. Okay, here's DIY number 4. So for this DIY, I'm using one of these bottle caps. Last year they came out and I did not find them until the beginning of this year. I was so excited. I bought a whole bunch and I haven't even been doing anything with it. So I figured I better do something with it. So these are the items I use. Although I did not use this vinyl, I changed my mind. in the process of doing this. So I'm just taking the hanger off that bottle cap, and I'm going to paint both the bottle cap and that little planter with my Waverly Chalk paint in the color white. But first I decided to use some of my painter's tape and put it over that rope because I am such a messy painter. I knew that if I didn't do that, I would get paint all over it. So I'm just covering it with some painter's tape. And then once they were all painted white and dried, I took some more twine, and I'm just going to wrap the bottom part of this as well. I wanted this, actually the bottom part of this planter is going to be the top part, but I just wanted it to kind of match. I wanted to have both the twines on both sides. And so I don't know how many times I wrapped it. I just tried to wrap it until it was about 1.5 inches wide, because that's what the top one was. So I wanted it to kind of match that length. So once I was done, I just hot glued the ends to the container there. And then I'm going to hot glue some of that ribbon right along the middle of the jute twine on both the top and the bottom. And I am just going to turn in the edge there so that way it has a nice clean seam. After that, I took some of these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree, and I am just going to add them on. You take off the backing, you stick it on where your item, and then I'm just using my little scraper there to burnish it into onto the pail or planter, I guess, and then you take off the plastic piece, and there it is. And you can see it changing. It goes from a dark black to a dark gray. So, and that's, I always just kind of watch, and then when the colors are changing, I know it's ready to lift. And then I added some more of these leaves to it, and then there was a little heart. I went ahead and put the little heart in between the bottom of those leaves as well. And I really love this. I love these rub-on transfers. I don't know how many of these I have, but I think they're so pretty. And then I took some of that ink by Waverly, and I'm just doing some dry brushing. And the spots where it got a little heavy, I did take a little bit of white later and just kind of went over it a little bit just to soften it up. But you know me, I like to do my distressing. And then once I am done with this, I am going to use some, I guess I distressed the bottle cap too. I figured, I need to do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and distress all around the sides and the top and the bottom. Then I'm marking the center point, trying the best as I can to get it centered. And then once I do that, I am going to use E6000 and hot glue, and I'm going to put it all around the lip of that bottom of the planter there. And E6000 is for the permanent hold, and the hot glue is for immediate hold. And then I'm just going to put it right over the the middle spot, and then just hold it down. And then after that, I took some Mod Podge and I just covered it with Mod Podge to protect it. Then I took these, oh my goodness, what are they? My mind is going crazy. I can't think of them. You know what they are. Anyways, I got these from Dollar Tree, and I am going to, I took them all out of the little containers they came in, and I'm just snipping the bottoms, and I'm going to use those little styrofoam pieces that were in those containers, and I'm just going to hot glue them on top. And then if I had a little piece of pool noodle that I cut in half, and I'm going to add those as well. And succulents, there they are. I knew it would come to me. So then I'm just adding these succulents all to the top, and you'll see here what I do in a minute. But I'm so proud of myself. I'm just putting these all in, and then I decide, okay, I'm going to use some moss from Dollar Tree, and I just start stuffing the container with the moss so you don't see the bottom part, you know, the little things that the styrofoam that I'm sticking them in. And so here I'm putting in all the moss, and I get done, and I'm like, oh crap. I had the little flowers. I wanted them in the front, and everything was backwards. So I had to take them out, turn my can around or plant around, and put them back in. But there it is. You'll have to let me know what you think about this. I just think it came out really cute. So thank you guys for joining me today. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, become part of our family. I'd love to have you join. Make sure you all give me that thumbs up and comment. That all helps my channel grow. And I don't know what else to say. It's been a day and my brain is fried. So I will be back on Friday with another video. Forgive me, you guys, but I am looking forward to this video. I can't wait. So until then, have a blessed week and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.